Just talking generally about the press conference at Serena, and maybe what happened at Bomas. And I've never had an issue with those grounds as they are. But the evidence of Gulie and Bolu yesterday took a new tangent. If you look at the tenor of the evidence, they were saying that my client basically wanted to deny President William Ruto the presidency. And it creates a new ground. Before, there were no such grounds in the 4 petitions filed in the National Assembly. But the evidence and the line of cross-examination by Peter Munge yesterday introduced a new angle, which forces me to raise the issue of maybe actual or apparent bias by the tribunal in view of what was raised yesterday. And I need to raise the issue of bias on how it is, and just for a few minutes. Mr. Chairman, one of the doctrines of any tribunal is the doctrine, of course, of Nemo Judex in Causa Sua. A tribunal must be impartial in its sitting. Article 51 also gives my client the right that she ought to appear before a tribunal that's impartial. But now, once this angle was introduced yesterday, it endangers the liberty of my client. And I want to raise at this early opportunity. The Gazette notice that the established tribunal, Mr. Chairman, appointed Caroline Kamende Daudi as the commissioner, as a tribunal member, and she's your vice. Emmanuel Gibet as the joint secretary, and my friend Peter Munge as the lead counsel. The way this tribunal is considered, Mr. Chairman, is the commissioners and the joint secretary and the lead counsel is one and the same. It's not like a normal court where the prosecutor is independent body. But the tribunal in its setting is that the commissioner, the commissioners, the joint secretary, and the lead counsel is one and the same. They work together. And that's the danger now, where it lies. Mr. Chairman, Caroline Kamende Daudu is actually my good friend. And she can tell you that when she was running to be the vice president of LSK, I supported her and the President Nelson Harvey, and they won. And they remain my good friends. But during the Supreme Court decision, Caroline Kamende Daudi acted for the president. And she was part of the legal team. And I know and I'm aware that my friend also, Linda Kiome, whom I'd never met before, but we've worked together before, ran for she was running to be the deputy governor for Meru in a UDA ticket. My friend Emmanuel Kibet, again, I never met Kibet before until this tribunal. But his business partner, Professor Githure Kindiki, is my friend. When Githure wanted to begin legal practice from being a professor in the university, he actually came to see me and we had a discussion, and I assisted him in setting up his law firm. So he's been my friend. But I'd never met Kibet. But I now know that Kibet is his legal partner, and Kibet is a joint secretary in this tribunal. And the Office of the President plays a very crucial role in this tribunal. It's the one that facilitated the setting up of this tribunal, and I know of my knowledge that's the one that's still financing the tribunal. Lastly, my friend Peter Munge, whom I've known forever since I began practice, is a partner of my classmate, Honorable Muriu, who is the MP for Gatanga. I've done so much work with also Muriu as lawyers in different transactions. Muriu, other than being the UDA MP for Gatanga, is a legal secretary of UDA. And he was also part of the legal team for the president in the Supreme Court. Peter comes from that law firm. So my issue, Mr. Chairman, seeking your guidance, I'm not asking that they step down, but I'm inviting them to examine their conscience and whether they will give my client impartial hearing and justice, that they will not be biased. Some could be actual biased, like my friend Caroline Dawoodi, because she was part of the legal team. But from Linda, Peter, and Emmanuel, it could be apparent bias, because they were indirectly associated with UDA. But Ms. Dawoodi was directly associated with UDA. Mr. Chairman, Julius Caesar everyone knows Julius Caesar. Is one of the greatest rulers ever in history. His wife Pompey, there were rumors in Rome that his wife was sleeping with a nobleman. There was no evidence. But Julius Caesar divorced his wife because he said the emperor's wife must be above suspicion. So I'm asking Mr. Chairman that if there is suspicion by the public that Ms. Dawoodi, Linda, Peter, Emmanuel will be biased against my client, because there's evidence from yesterday is that Ms. Irene Masit wanted to stop President William Ruto from being president. There's a great danger, Mr. Chairman. I seek your guidance and directions.
Listen to you. One, you are saying that even as you say the many things you're saying, first of all, is evidence which shouldn't be coming from you. You can swear an affidavit because you're saying your personal knowledge of these things. And so ideally, one should have seen an application for recusal, but you are saying, I've just listened to you, you don't want recusal, but you're asking that people should just examine their conscience generally. So we leave it at examining conscience. But I think, Mr. Donald, either you want recusal or you don't want. Because what would be the reason of saying the things that you are saying? But secondly, at what point does it become known to you? And I've just been listening to you. You said you know Munge, you say you know Linda, you say you know Kamende, you know all these people. At what point does it start appearing to you that there's bias? Now, but more important, and I've just told Danson, you know, the evidence that is tendered here, if it doesn't relate to petitions that were filed and the grounds in the petitions, it's just that, isn't it? Because we are limited in our dealing with the questions at hand on what is it that was complained against your client and whether those complaints have been substantiated, sufficient enough for us to make a determination one way or the other by way of recommendation. So I hear you to be saying, examine your conscience. You don't represent Kenyans. You represent a client, a specific client who has a name. So that we can make progress, I will ask that we proceed. But your point has been made, Council.
Mr. Chairman, you asked me when I got to know. As I said,
I don't want us to get into that discussion. I was just saying.
No, because you're asking me.
I wasn't asking because fine. I want. It's rhetorical.
Okay.
Well, I want us to proceed.
Thank you, Chair. We are also taken aback by, political statements at times made for purpose of headline tomorrow, but we are ready with our witness. Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, they are not political statements. I am saying they are not political statements. They arose from yesterday's evidence. So, yeah.
When you sat and reflected on that evidence, because the evidence was being tendered in your presence, you could simply have said, stop that evidence because it's not contained in the petitions, isn't it? You sat through, you let it come through, and then now, a day later, you're saying, let's go back to that evidence. If you want it expunged from record, you will make an appropriate application in that regard. Thank you. Thank you.